You are now tuned in to the Red Spot Podcast. Give me more of that.
What's good? It's the Red Spot Podcast. I'm your host, Sunchild Beats, and you know we about to get into it. But before we do, I want you to hit the like, the follow, and the share button for me. This helps me to continue to bring you these videos. And if you would like to be a sponsor for Red Spot Podcast, or perhaps you just want to donate, send an email to redspotpodcast@gmail.com, and somebody will return a message. Anyway, let's get to it. First and foremost, y'all, I just like to say this country, okay, right off the top. And I'd like to say how this country has everybody acting, how this country has tailor-made society to fit them, and all of the presidents that have been presidents in this country who have done absolutely nothing but made everybody else's life a living hell. So I wanted to say that right off the top. And now I shall proceed. We're in a time where everything is completely uncertain. Although there's one thing that is for certain, that this country is done. It's never going to be able to return back to the glory that it once had. It's never going to get the respect that it once had. The people in the country are never going to get the respect. There are going to be people who attempt to still live the American dream when the American dream has been canceled a long time ago. It has become an American nightmare, and that has been years and years and years ago. So a lot of us have been asleep. We've missed the mark. We haven't been paying attention. And we haven't been doing what some of these wealthy people have been doing. They've been paying money to have underground bunkers and cities and everything made so they have a place to run, duck, and hide after they themselves have caused all the chaos and everybody else is going to get the fallout. It's a specific group of people with whom I'm talking about. So it's not a race thing so much. It's more so a thing where people who feel as though they have the right to shape the world. And so they exercise that right because they have the resources to be able to. I think that is totally unethical just because you have money that you are able to go to a meeting every year or so and you're able to sit down with a bunch of other people and come up with how society is to be ran. Who gave you the authority to do that? There is nobody who made a special election of appointed people that would shape the way the reality works in this world for everybody else. These people usually get what they want done by way of force. They don't go do things legally. They do things by way of force. And the only time they speak of anything legal is when it comes time for them to try to get out of the situation that they've landed themselves in. And this is the reason why they say justice is blind. Yes, justice is blind as hell. It's blind to everybody when it comes to the people who invented the law of justice to be persecuted, prosecuted, and put in prison. Yeah, but then when it comes to everybody else, oh no, justice is wide awoke. It can clearly see everything that you have thought about doing. All right, and you will be penalized for it. And that's just. But my question is this. Do you think that the people who have put us all in this specific situation, the way the world is right now, and I know a lot of people are going to blame everything solely on Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that the majority of the things that have happened thus far have not been Trump's fault, but they've also been the fault of other people as well. Other people who are complicit as well. And I think that we should blame all of those people if we're going to just blame just one. And it doesn't matter what race these people are. It doesn't matter what gender they are. None of that matters. What matters is bringing people to justice who have caused the breakdown in the life that we all knew. Okay? There are a lot of people right now who are forfeiting their membership to this particular country club. And what I mean by country club, I mean country club. Only a few people have one big ass country club. The rest of the people are here by default. And the rest of the people that are here by default are going to get treated as if they are here by default. So rather than for people to expect something different, just know that you are going to be treated like a second and third and fourth class citizen. You are never going to be treated like a first-class citizen. Just as we see as of late, Kanye West, right? And he was showing a tweet where him and his trainer were going back and forth. And the trainer basically said something to the tune where he would have Kanye drugged and have him put back into an institution and have them load him up with drugs and mess up his thinking. And he would do all of this to Kanye West because Kanye West exposed him. The fact that he was able to be emboldened enough to say this shit, not worrying about whether or not there was going to be police call, not worrying whether or not Kanye felt for his life, it felt like it was a threat. The man has children. This was said to this man, and I seriously doubt that there would be anything behind it, no matter what is being said. And that is exactly what the issue is. The issue is this: if you're going to come and beat us all upside the head, if you're going to come and arrest us for everything, then you have to arrest everybody. That's only fair. And then you have to take into consideration, I know you don't want me in this country now. We know you don't want us in this country now. Now that we've built it, now that we've given you riches, now that we've provided all of the resources and the different things and the different ways that America has used to be able to make money and become rich, we've contributed to that with our blood, sweat, and tears. And we have absolutely nothing to show for it. We knew right then and there that out of all of the countries that voted to say that slavery was the worst atrocity in history, they had the audacity to turn around and say, no, it wasn't. Let me guess, what was the worst atrocity in history? If I were to ask America that, if I were to ask Israel that, if I were to ask Argentina that, what are they going to say? They're all going to say that the Jewish Holocaust was the worst situation to have ever happened. It is absolutely that's what they're all going to say. How these people would try to say that that was worse than slaving over 100 million people. Some people dying during the passage to even get to slavery. People being raped. Women and children being thrown overboard. Men being thrown overboard. Chained up together and thrown overboard. In the middle of the fucking ocean. And you tell me that these people, the same said people, want to now be fragile in the way that they feel, to the point where everybody's saying, oh, well, you got to watch what you say on social media. Why do I need to watch what I say? Isn't it social media? Isn't this my space to be able to speak my mind? Is that not right? Somebody else does it. A lot of people do that. But why is it so messed up when black people do it? If it's not a racist thing, why is you should be able to give so messed up legitimate anybody else as to why this occurs? Because if you say that it has nothing to do with race, then you have to be able to prove that it has nothing to do with race. Otherwise, beside that, common sense is going to tell me it has everything to do with race. It has everything to do with race and self-preservation of another people. And that's exactly what it is that white people as a whole do. They will go and take other people's resources. They will go and try to take over other people's land in where they live at to extract resources, and then have the audacity to get upset if they can't put a military base on these people's land. This is the breakdown you're seeing now. This is the reason why those military bases were destroyed in the Middle East. Why? Because there was no way that people were going to continue to allow America's presence over in the Middle East affecting what it is that they have going on. And with that being said, they were attempting to get America out of their presence. Now, what I don't understand is, how is it that you don't mind being in somebody else's backyard? But if somebody even dreamt about being in your backyard, that's even if they are at the bottom of the fucking ocean. That's even if they are in a submarine, minding their own business. If you find out that they even attempted to go in the direction of America from any angle, you are going to be ready for all-out war. But yet you have no understanding as to why all these other countries feel the exact same way. Some people just don't understand it and says, well, I mean, it started to make me believe there's no way that you really possibly, we go in and we give them aid, and we go in and we help their infrastructure. We go in and we do this and do that. That is true. But ask yourself, why do they do that? Because they know that they themselves have went in and fucked these people's way of life up. Going in, changing their regime. Who the hell are you to go to somebody else's country and tell them you don't like the way they run in their country? Motherfucker, they don't like the way you running yours. But yet and still, you do it. That is the audacity. That is the type of shit that is going to get people's ass blown off. And then the response that we get from the leadership in this country, that is beyond me. Okay? In my Ha Davis voice, that is beyond me. My. Okay? That is exactly what it is. And it makes absolutely no sense because they're able to do that. Meanwhile, the world is watching and the world is weighing in on America. And every single weigh-in gets more emboldened. There are more threats behind it. There are more little slick threats and innuendos to different things that could happen. And, all kind of little stuff involved in the things that these people are saying. And they sit up and they talk about this country in their meetings and in their news briefs. Okay? And they laugh at the calamity that's going on in this country. And the truth of the matter is, shit, I would too. Because we've had to be on the flip side of that calamity. And now that it's somebody else's turn to go through it, everybody wants to be fragile now. Everybody wants to say, well, if you didn't like it, why would you want somebody else to go through it? Once you start saying, it's not that I want anything. I tell you it's just that what goes around comes around. The Bible. You already know that. Understand what's going on. Okay? It talks about it in the Bible. I don't care what you say. Even if you want to read the Bible from a history book standpoint, read it from that standpoint and you will see. You're going to see who caused all of these issues, who caused all of these catastrophes, and who were the same people that turned around and said that the reason why they did this to those groups of people is because those groups of people were savages and did not deserve to procreate. Ain't that the same thing they said about the people in Australia, the Aborigines, before they wiped them out? Like I said before, they have a festival commemorating them conquering that land and taking over that land in front of the indigenous people, who, by the way, were black people. They were Aborigines of Australia. These white people, these colonizers, they had no problem with going and eliminating these people, taking over their resources and their land and claiming it for themselves. I had an hour argument with a dude. Of course, you know that he was a Caucasian guy. And I was listening to his standpoint of things. He listened to mine. But then he goes into talking about how the people in Australia were savages and they dressed and act like savages and they did this and did that. And I'm looking at him like, so what you're trying to tell me is they were in their own land with their own culture, doing what it is that they were doing. You didn't feel like it was justified for them to do what they were doing, so you decided that you were going to evict them off of their land, and you were going to take their land, make you this oasis out of, and then once again there was going to be a place for you and your people to live and claim as yours. Same thing you did with South Africa. We know white people are not indigenous to no fucking South Africa. But yet and still, you're down in South Africa talking about this was my father's land and this was his father's land. No. Didn't you see the movie Shaka Zulu? A lot of sense. All right. What did he say? Basically, he let y'all come over there. And if he let y'all live in that land, on the same land that belongs to his people, and he lets you live on this land, and yeah, sure enough, we may have a treaty. But as generations go on and generations go on, people forget about that. The way of life changes. Okay, so then when an argument comes about between our grandchildren and great-grandchildren about whose land this is, whose land will it be? And the only thing that this white colonizer could say is, well, it would be ours. No, it wouldn't be ours. It would be my land that I decided to allow your people to dwell on so that we can learn from you and you can learn from us. But this is not your land because you are not indigenous to it. You're not native of this land. And so I think that what should happen, I think that all of these countries around the world that have a problem with colonization, I think that they should take back their country. And I think that those people who've came over there and colonized these spaces should be evicted from these spaces, because it's not fair to everybody else that you can run around the world and you can take whatever it is you want. A person is not able to really argue about it because you'll just find a judge that'll listen to what it is that you want and do what you want done. You'll pay somebody to get it done. You'll only do all of these things, people, and you'll use your privilege. But none of the things that you say will really be a legitimate reason as to why you are now attempting to colonize somebody else's shit as if you don't see them there. So you have a whole planet full of tyrants, and people have to deal with these tyrants. And now all of these tyrants are starting to act really fragile. And you're wondering, like, how do you get to be fragile when you've went and caused so much catastrophe? Where they do that at? That's what you wonder. And you know that they know that that's what you're thinking, even if you don't say it. And then they're looking at you as if they don't have a clue, when you know that they know that they are the person that you are speaking about when you start talking about colonizers. And so I always say, what I'm talking about has nothing to do with me hating or being a bigot or disrespecting, because none of us have control. I don't care what color your skin is. But we do have control by the way that we treat other people and the way that we respect other people's way of life and other people's culture. Because it is not our right to assimilate their culture into ours and then treat them as if they didn't contribute to the success of what you call the America. I think that once we get to that point to where people finally understand that all of the things that have been done have caused all of these different breakdowns in different places. And as a result, that is what has weakened America. And even though they run around, they say, hey, America is strong, the economy was doing okay, blah, 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 blah. That means absolutely nothing, because morally, America is destroyed. It is depleted. And with that being said, that means that there's going to be a day of reckoning. Now, what's really mind-boggling to me is the fact that there's a whole book and tells you all of those things are happening right in front of all of our faces. And it tells you all of the things that were going to happen. Idiots leading up to that still going destruction with the agendas that they have. So that either tells me that that's either the Most High's doing, because what has to come to pass in order for the end to come about. The end as we know it. That is the reason why I said, I know that there has to be something going on in the backdrop that we all can't see, because there is no way that you can continue to do something right when you're reading about it and it's saying that you are going to do just that. And it's telling you what the outcome is. You're going to lose. You are now going to be the scapegoat. And I guess Donald Trump feels like, I'm old. No big deal. I mean, whatever years I got left anyway, I'm going to live my life and that's going to be it, And then once I'm here, what can they say? What can they do? They have to move on from there. So But you have to understand you're going to
situations like
for what it is that
Epstein
you've done, whether or not
files
you
and
pay
all of
now
the
or
other
later.
things
That not just Trump, but a lot of members of Congress and, you know, a lot of other people participated in. And when you have something like this looming, at the same time there's a war, it makes you kind of just start putting things together 2 and 2. It tells you that, you know, we are in those times that the Bible speaks about, and it tells you that these people will go to any lengths to hide something or to keep something from happening. I think I saw the other day where Donald Trump said something to the tune of basically locking America down for emergency purposes. So in other words, what you really want to say is calling and invoking martial law for emergency purposes. And we've already had emergency purposes for years. Now, all of a sudden, you want to invoke something that I don't believe anybody's ever done it. And if they have, now what you want to do
am not savvy
is
to
you
that
want to
information.
basically pull a move like that. And you're doing that because this way it helps people to, you know, stay out of the way. That's what you're saying. It helps people to stay out of the way in case there's an emergency, because after all, there is a war going on. And there are countries who may have weapons that can reach American soil. Why would
So
you
I can
put the
understand
American
that.
people in that position in the first place? If you are a leader, why would you do that? So to me, it seems as though this has to happen, because there is no way that they could foul up this bad. I mean, they was ready to get Bill Clinton out of office when he got caught with the
They was
Monica
ready to
Lewinsky
get him
thing.
out of the
office. They impeached him too. But you cannot impeach and get rid of Donald Trump? No. That lets me know that there's something in the backdrop that is controlling this, a puppeteer, if you will. All of these people who are continuing to try to uphold white supremacy are either people that come from over in the land of Israel, or people that are pale-skinned, okay, YT people. And then you got the people in Argentina. You wonder, well, why would a person in Argentina vote against such a thing when they know that that was, if not the most heinous catastrophe that has ever happened during a period in history, and that is still ongoing, except for it's more mental than it is. It's more systemic. And the thing is you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, like, and the fact that we continue to go in the direction
to this position
pretty much let me know a long time ago that America
when we
is
knew
done. It's
that
over
we
with.
were going to end up
That's
being
the reason
in this
why you
position
have
so
anybody
far
becoming the president now.
ahead of time.
You have people that are put in positions that were school teachers or people that were gym teachers and shit like that. You know, people that have no idea about what's going on in the world on that type of level. People who don't understand politics. But you've put these people in positioning. And if I didn't know Trump better, Trump is good with throwing other people under the bus. If you remember, he had the show The Apprentice. All right? I hated that damn show. Because the same arrogance that he has now is the same outspoken ass arrogance that he had during the show. I mean, doing things like taking the black people off the list to get a promotion. You don't want the military to be black. I tell you what, if you don't want the military to be black, then pack black people up and send them back home. And you can have all the white people you want fight in the military. And you're going to do this just so white people can say, hey, well, I went and I fought for your black ass. That's the only reason why you're doing this. You're not fighting for us. You're fighting because you just like the war. Your people are a people who like war. Okay? So don't blame the chaos on everybody else. Don't make everybody else the catalyst as to why you went and did what you did. No, you did what you did because you were complicit with other people who wanted to see death and destruction, because that's all they know.
The question
They don't
is,
know nothing else. What or it's in their blood. Or what, if anything, in our own community, what exactly can we do to combat these situations? Because I'm going to tell you something. Every time I get on social media, I see some shit that make me so livid. I'm almost ready to crash out through the damn television, crash out through the computer screen, through the phone, whatever medium I'm watching it on. I'm ready to crash the hell out and smack everybody up, okay? I don't care if you go home to your mama house. I'm ready to come and find you there. Because I feel like people can get away with anything as long as you got the right color. And then no matter what you say to them, they will sit and still try to justify their argument. What's messed up about this country is this country has allowed everybody to feel emboldened. And it doesn't matter what race you are. It has allowed everybody to get this certain amount of arrogance and cockiness, okay? And then they know that if you decide to take it there, they're prepared to like go people like Charleston White, the police. I understand where he comes from, and you're saying things that may be true about the community. But first of all, it's like you're saying these things, but yet you're going around messing with different women. You're saying these things, but yet you're being disrespectful to fellow artists and people who have had a colorful past, but that doesn't mean that they are still the same way. And for you to go and paint a specific picture about them, and then as soon as they say one thing to you, you got to get on camera, pull out an AK, you got to show everybody what you got. One thing that I cannot stand is a person that's sarcastic in this day and era, all that trolling shit. And I'm going to tell you why. I do not have the time to toy with somebody else. And if you did not get on my post in order to help propel us in the right direction, then you in the motherfucking way. Because trolling me is a waste of your time. I'm either going to ignore your shit or I'm going to read the shit. Because they don't put a lot of information on their page that you can't figure out and find out who they are. And then when you drag them forward, you know what they do? They do shit like fall all over the fucking floor, throw a tension tantrum, and then scream, kick, holler, cry, and then you can't understand shit they saying, but they're pointing the finger talking about this person has yelled at me and assaulted me with their voice. And I'm talking about all kind of corny ass shit. And then the police are standing there looking at this shit. On one hand, they got to be sympathetic to you because you're white. On the other hand, they're sitting there looking like, okay, so why did I get called for this bullshit? Because even they know it's stupid. So that's the society that we live in right now. And that's what people have to deal with. And that's alongside dealing with an increase of police, an increase of criminal activity, an increase of gas, an increase of food prices, an increase in everything that is going against the people in society. That's exactly what's going on. I went to the gas station today, and I just needed to throw some gas in a car. Now, mind you, I'm in a small vehicle, okay? A gas saver. So to put gas in this car, I was just like, you know what? Because I'm in a hurry. I got to go get wifey. So I'm like, I'm going to put I think I put like $13 in there or something in the tank. And I promise y'all, I got 3 gallons of gas, almost 3.5. And that just goes to show me that, every so many years, there is some type of skirmish or some type of war or something that goes on. The price of everything goes up. Now you have to ask yourself, why are the prices going up necessarily? I would think that during the time that there was a war and you have all these people who don't have the things that they need and there's a war going on within, I would think that I would tell some of these merchants not to go up on their prices, to keep those prices as they are, because a lot of people go up on their prices even when it doesn't really affect them because they want to take advantage of people. And that's the same thing that these people do. That's the reason why it doesn't matter if we sit down and somebody's capitalizing who you think is supposed to rightfully have that land or who you don't think. None of that really matters in this scenario. Because I'm going to tell you what, people are going to be divided according to who their fathers are anyway. That's what's going to happen. And the truth is going to come out to who the land belongs to. We already know who the land belongs to. But yet and still, you have America, Israel, and Argentina still trying to uphold white supremacy. And the reason why Argentina is even in on it is because the guy that runs Argentina is Netanyahu's people. So what does that tell you? Yes. I know y'all probably looking at my podcast. Just know I said like, this dude does not have a conventional podcast. No, I don't. I don't believe in doing what somebody else do. I don't believe in doing it the way that somebody else did it. No, I'm going to do it the way that I do it so that it's comfortable to me, so that I'm able to articulate myself so you can get an understanding of where I'm coming from. And so you can see the world through my lens. And maybe you will agree and maybe you won't. But that's just the way it is. I'm never knocking somebody on doing what they have to do to make money. But if you're doing something that's, inhuman, demoralizing to somebody else, then that is an issue. If you're doing something that doesn't affect anybody else but yourself, then what can a person say if you don't want to heed the message or the warning? What can a person say? There's nothing that they can say. They can allow you to be who you are and do what it is. Now, I think it's quite mind-boggling that this country has decided we're not going to put out any more Epstein files. We want to put that behind the current president's presidency. And essentially, the people who went through this, the people who are waiting to get some type of justice, what's going to happen? Aren't going to get. When he's not the president, is he going to go to jail for those crimes? Or are you going to say something to him for those crimes? And you know what he's going to do? He's going to go and say, hey, you know what? There should be a law that says, basically you got a certain amount of time to do this and this and that. Since you've raised such a stink about it, you have a certain amount of time to get this and get this done and get that done. But because you didn't get it done, then why should I have to worry about it? I'm telling you, that's how this is going to play out. And he's going to weasel this is what happens out of everyday situation. Those people who do not live in America, you are watching. This is the shit that you would have to face when coming to America. Okay? No, I take that back. You probably won't have to face it. Because as long as you aren't a Negro, you won't too much have that much of a problem. I've seen people come over here that come from Hamitic countries over on the African continent. And they come over here and then they make some type of cuisine and boom, they got a whole full-fledged business. And they're living out there in Governor's Mansion in Brentwood. And you're wondering, they just came from Africa, poor, okay? They came to America. How within 5-6 years, they're living the way that they're living and you've been struggling your whole life? It's because America gives and invests in them and does for them. But for you, nah, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. For you, nah. You got to make sure you get up and be on time or else you will not be getting a dime. You understand what I'm saying? For you, nah. Now, they want to make sure that you know that everything that they got for you is borrowed. Okay, meaning they're going to extract what they can extract out of you. You're gonna pay back some type of way. And what are you paying for? You're paying for being in a fucking captivity. Ain't that a bitch? As if this is a resort. You're paying to be in a captivity. These people are spending millions on other economies and other countries. And then when it comes to the people that are inside this country, absolutely nothing. This is the American story, y'all. And the sad thing is, it's going to be too late for a lot of people to even really start to understand it because people are not trying to understand it. People are too busy worrying about what this girl over here doing online. Okay? Pooh Shiesty gets out of prison. What this man trying to do better with themselves. And then you go and rob the guy instead of getting back to it. You go and you rob this guy. And you're about to go back to prison probably forever. And the thing about it is, he's going to try to justify it in some way, but he should know by now. You are a young black male. The system is not going to see it your way. It wouldn't matter if you were up against a straight up Hamitic person from Africa. The system is not going to see it your way. And anybody who gets up there thinking that there's going to be some type of justice served for real in your favor, then you have another thing coming. When you black, it's not happening. This is the facts. We going through that shit for real. It's not a game. This is not AI technology. If you black and you might not be able to get a job, but you got to feed yourself some type of way. Now, if you get out here and you do something that you shouldn't be doing, then if there's a consequence that comes behind it, you may or may not have to suffer that. But when you are out here trying to do right to figure it out, when you're out here trying to pull yourself up by those bootstraps and work to try to figure things out, when you're out here on the front line trying to do all you can do to feed you, when you're out and here exhausted, when you're out here done, depleted, you are extremely tired. You don't want to move, let alone worry about work or trying to make money to feed the family. When you do all of that in this country, you still get no respect. You still get no honor. You still get nothing. All you get is a slap on the wrist and put into a casket when it's time for you to leave. And that's all you get. Sunchild Beats, Red Spot Podcast. I salute y'all and y'all be easy. Yep.
You are now tuned in to the Red Spot Podcast. Give me more of that.